You've gone on a healing journey and you have kind of like reduced the number of times that you're Rubik's cubing to become other people. You might notice that there's this like one thing left. And I call it the persona of invalidation. And basically the way that I conceptualize it is, if this is your soul, here's your persona. And this persona's job is to be the barrier between your soul and everybody else on the other side. And your soul basically views this as a protective thing. It knows that this persona hopefully will protect the soul from others seeing it. But the thing about this persona is that it's incredibly weak. It really doesn't know how to hold up in the face of challenge or in the face of invalidation or validation. And this persona always has like another agenda. So in moments where your soul is here, here's your persona, and you actually get feedback or invalidation, it goes right through the persona and hits to the soul. And this is the space where we get kind of that like emotional whiplash. And we basically say like, why did that hurt so much? Or why does it mean so much to me that this person has validated my actions or my words? And if you are somebody who has already like broken down your other personas, there can be this kind of like sense of confusion, but also resentment, this space of like, why do I care what other people think about me still? And the thing is that you can't resolve that thought of like, why do I care, if you don't resolve the relationship between your soul and the persona. The entire time that this exists, the soul thinks that it's protected. And each time invalidation or validation goes through the persona and hits the soul, you're basically catching your soul off guard. So when we get those feelings of resentment and anger and confusion, that's basically the tension between your soul and the persona that you really no longer need. But we misread it as tension between ourselves and everybody else. When you reframe it and you recognize that it's not tension between you and everybody else, but it's really tension between your soul and the persona, you actually have a better chance of resolving it. Because what you need to do is decide if I still need this. Do I still think I need something to block my soul? Do I need something to protect my soul? Or do I feel confident enough in who I am, as I am, that my soul can stand on its own and not require this kind of additional boundary? And when you answer that question, you're going to notice one thing. The persona, this entire time, while it's been viewed as being protective, what it actually has been doing is it's been blocking the soul from receiving what it wants. When the soul receives invalidation or validation, positive or negative feedback, basically the soul knows what it needs. And you're going to feel it. You're going to say, I need X in this situation. If I introduce the persona is basically going to say, yeah, I know you need something in your soul, but I now have to think about what are people going to think about us if I ask for that? What are we going to be to other people if I say the soul needs this? And 99.9% of the time, I would say the persona never allows the soul to get what it needs, because the persona is basically only looking out for itself. It's always going to try to figure out who it needs to be for others so that way it can be accepted, or how it needs to retaliate towards others so that way the soul feels protected once again. So when you do this work, if you are somebody who has already broken down the personas and you're kind of in this last stage of like, why do I care so much what other people think? When you get validation or invalidation, ask yourself two questions. What does my soul need? What does my persona want to do? When you see the discrepancy in those two things, go and see if you can give your soul what it needs, even if it is contrary to what the persona wants. When you start practicing giving your soul what it needs, the persona gets weaker and eventually it's going to disappear, allowing you to be in the space of showing up as, this is my soul, here's all this other validation or invalidation from other people, and the soul is in full control of deciding how it wants to handle the situation.